It's time for the Ship's Gonna Happen podcast. Here with a load of laughs, info, and fun, it's Tony B, Dave B, and Timmy D.
Before I go alone. Don't ask me this and one more song. It ain't too costly, no, I ain't too cheap, so just relax. I'm on my knees.
Welcome to the Ship's Gonna Happen Podcast, episode number 110. That'd be 110. My name is Tony B. Alongside me is David B. and Timmy D. as well. David B. has topic 1 on the Union. Timmy D. followed up with an update on Yellow. And I've got an update on UFO'S. The views of Ship's Gonna Happen are purely news-driven and do not express the views of any transportation provider or any business entity that uses any transportation provider. I forget why the heck do we do it, Timmy D?
Transportainment.
Boom! That's right, Transportainment. You can catch us in all the search engines, all the podcast platforms. We are Ship's Gonna Happen, episode 110. Just put us in a search engine and you will find us. It's a beautiful Saturday morning here in Indianapolis. Well, outside Indianapolis. Probably pretty too in Indianapolis. David B., good Saturday morning.
Good morning, producer Tony. Good morning, Timmy D. It's so good to see the both of you. It is a very beautiful Saturday morning. I had to kind of detour on the way over. Instead of coming through downtown, I got routed on the north side, which is still a big cluster mess. You know, no matter what side of town you're driving on, it's a cluster mess somewhere with all the construction and all that stuff. But little detour coming around on the north side and stuff, but still a decent drive. Again, like you said, producer Tony, it's a beautiful Saturday morning, and Tony's yard is good for golfing, or at least like it's looking good for golfing or on or whatever. So,
kaboom!
This show, along with all of our other shows, are brought to you by Great Divide, 743 East New York Street, downtown Indianapolis. Great place to go after a Ship's Gonna Happen week. Great place to go to unwind, get a good meal, chat it up with the locals, hear some good stories about some lawyers maybe suing the state of Indiana. We'll have more of that maybe on a future episode. We'll talk about that. And just an overall great place to go. Jen and her crew doing an awesome job at taking care of us, and they'll take care of you too. Go by there and tell them we said to stop in. And Timmy D, how are you, my friend? It's so good to see you. Football season's right around the corner. You got your Colts season tickets yet, or?
Oh yeah, it's the menu's out. The menu's out for the tailgate.
Yep.
So it's coming quickly, that's for sure. I think everyone reports this week, right? For training camp.
Yep.
Is that
So you say menu, like for your tailgates?
For the
like
games.
what you'll have to eat and stuff? Really?
So the menu is pretty much based off of where, like a dish from where the city's from.
So if we're playing Miami, then you've got some dolphin on the menu or something.
It'd be probably like fish tacos.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
But
All
we
right.
do fish tacos, or like when we played Oakland, it was street tacos.
So what'd you do with Kansas City played here last year?
Well, we're
Barbecue.
going barbecue.
That's what I
baby.
thought.
We'll
Yeah.
smoke some meat.
Oh, yeah.
We're gonna do. I think he did a brisket. Brisket would be pulled pork, maybe.
So
But,
if a dumb question, if we're playing Buffalo, obviously wings.
we definitely had wings with the blue cheese.
That's just right. He knew right where I was going.
Yeah,
I didn't even need to say
that's
another
hilarious.
thing. There shouldn't be any ranch anywhere near.
No,
No.
I love ranch. I don't like blue cheese. Just so
Yeah.
That's why he's asking. That's what he wants
He
to
knew.
get out of me.
Tim knew.
I'm with you, man. I do the
I
ranch.
lobbed
I
the
don't
softball.
need any more moldy food in my life. I like cottage cheese. I don't like the blue cheese.
That's how I
gotcha.
am.
I love blue cheese. I'm a blue cheese guy.
You
no
are?
ranch.
Like
no,
all in salads,
never
too?
ranch. Yep.
Wow.
Never ranch.
So
Each their own.
one other thing that Tony forgot to mention is we're gonna try to phone in number 2.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
We're trying to phone
Yay.
He's number 2.
here
That's
in
why I
a few.
forgot.
Oh,
We remember the number
Man.
one.
Number 1, I got him in
Billy
my
P,
speed
man,
dial.
what's
Yeah.
up with that?
I forgot about that. Thanks,
So
Tim.
hopefully we'll chime in. But good to see you
Yeah.
guys. Definitely Tony's lawn is striped out there in case y'all was wondering. But I brought in some homemade guacamole.
Looking good.
Hopefully they'll have some of
Yeah,
that.
old
before it's
Tim's.
all done.
Isn't it? I mean, I think, and I love that it's the homemade guacamole, but I think we're okay to call it the champion guacamole because that is
back
what
to
it
back.
is. It
Repeat.
I got to make sure because we didn't have a guac off this year, so I want to
But
make
we
sure
still
you
should
try
be
it.
but we
three-peat.
still could though.
Should be
we still
three-peat.
could.
There's some controversy.
We still could.
Yeah.
There is
have
some
a guac
controversy
on.
out there. I got a claim out of one of the federal judges on that. But anyways, throw it back to you, Tony. Good to see you boys. I look
You
forward
too,
to
brother.
discussing
Always a
everything.
pleasure.
So David B has we talk about trucking and shipping and all this stuff, and
Right.
David B had bringing up today.
Yeah, so kind of one of the topics that we do discuss. Kind of, I mean, for those of you that don't know, we kind of talk amongst ourselves when we're not doing the podcast. So one of the things that we do discuss often is labor unions in the United States, not just in the transportation industry, but also as a whole in the United States. You know how these labor unions, and I'm not. Before I go any further with what I'm gonna read or say about labor unions, I am not advocating for or against any union participation. In my 35 years of adult employment, I've never worked for a union, and I'm not condoning working for a union or not working for a union. So a lot of the unions, you know, we talk about teacher unions, truck driver unions, clothing and textile unions, mine worker unions, postal worker unions. And there's just a handful of the unions that the United States has. And so I kind of, by history on this is watching, just before I go any further too, watching one YouTube video. That's it. So I'm not. Again,
Dave's got notes today.
I do have notes.
Handwritten notes.
The teacher would be proud of me.
You get a star for
today.
today.
Teacher.
The question is, can we read them?
Well,
maybe not
yeah.
us.
I actually, when I perused them or briefly read over them earlier, I'm like, why did I write that down? So I'm going to start with this. The labor union history in the United States is a history that's tied to some of the labor problems that there are right now. And again, I'm not saying that the union is the cause of the problems, but just labor as a whole itself.
Right.
Because we can go all the way back to slavery. And that talks about the democracy and freedom, equality and justice. You know, war has been a part of labor, the rights of women, the rights of men. All of these factors have played into labor at some time over the course of history in the United States. And it's not really very well addressed. You know, when we talk about the history of labor, that's just something that's just not really well addressed in whether it needs to be or not in the schools or whatever. But, you know, 1953 was the peak of the union labor, which 35.7% of the American population worked in a union, and as of now, only 6.9% of the population works in a union. That's pretty low.
Yeah,
you could tie those numbers into good paying jobs, whether we have good paying jobs or not, and then since 1979, the pay for an employee that's a non-union employee has only risen 21%, and the pay of the executive or the owners of corporations has went up 489% in that time frame. So there's a huge difference in that, you know, in that money. But
6.9% still blows my mind.
It seems low. It sounds low. That's.
I mean, I just think about, you've got the plumbers union, the electrical
ton
union,
of them.
You've got
Carpenters,
the trucking
bricklayers,
industry.
yep.
You've got the railroad, bricklayer. You name
construction. Yeah,
right.
So that just.
Tim, I agree with you. It sounds like a low number, but then one of the things when I was doing my quote unquote research on this is I looked up how many employees Walmart has. They have 10.7 million employees alone, and none of them are union. None of them are union.
Amazon, FedEx.
Right. I get that. 6.9%. So a funny fact I heard, I don't know if you guys heard the same thing because of the UPS thing, which we'll talk about with the yellow that's coming up. Is they make up 6% of our GDP.
Okay.
But yet there's only 6.9%.
Yeah, because UPS would be the 86th largest economy in the world.
Right.
So that's huge contribution to America income. But yeah, right.
That's
and
true.
they're totally union.
I'll let you get through your thing.
Yeah.
I'll talk both
it's just
ways.
weird.
That number kind of stuck out.
Because I thought
so, but going to Tim's point with that though, the lower number of union employees leads to the lower number of wages, lower number of union employees. Where, before 1979, there was inequality in your hourly wage, but it wasn't that big of a difference.
So that number you said 400%, would that be today, or would that
is today.
That is today.
That is today. So if you draw a graph and you looked at that graph and you were going across here, that 21%, very minimal wage increase since 1979 of 21% for non-union employees, and then that gap, that's a huge gap.
So that's like Jeff Bezos becoming the richest man in the world, right?
Right.
But the Amazon driver delivering is non-union, right? Making
$21 an hour,
less
or whatever
than FedEx or UPS would, right?
I got something on that too.
Go ahead.
Real quick on that, I didn't know this. Our neighbor across the street, whenever the guy delivers Amazon, Amazon counts it as the same delivery because we're so close.
Wait, say that again.
So these Amazon drivers get paid by the box, whatever delivery.
Oh,
so when our next door neighbor across the street gets one and we get one the same day, he only gets credit for one. That's messed up. But now
that is messed up.
I want to get back to So let me ask you this, Dave.
That's why that's the 400%, right?
On your stats, though, you say good paying jobs. Yes, exactly. But my question would be: Would you want to work for a union? As in, do you want to get paid as the same thing as the guy next to you? Do you think your work ethic is even?
So that's a great question, and as I mentioned before, I gave this. I'm not advocating for or against,
right?
And after I did this, I still don't have. So that's an excellent question. I'm of the mindset, and not just of the mindset. I can factually tell you I am paid based off of merit. My merit is what has got me where I'm at today. And I'll just say this. I'm not trying to be whatever. My wife has her master's degree in nursing. I'm barely high school educated. We make the same amount of money because of ethic, not because anybody advocated for me. And I'm not, I see a place for unions. I'm not against them, but then I'm also of the belief where I got this. I don't need anybody advocating for me. I'm going to advocate for myself. But I probably could be doing better.
So my next question out there. Go ahead, Tony. What's your thought? Would you want to unionize yourself? Would you want to be paid as? I guess at the end of the day, it boils down to this: do you want to be paid the same as the weakest link on the team?
No.
Okay,
and either you could be the weakest link or you could be the best link. Right?
So here's just real quick. So
you like a flat pay at the end of the day
in Chicagoland area, suburbs of Illinois, I think the whole state. Every kid had to read a book called The Jungle by Upton Sinclair, and it was about the meatpacking plants in Chicago.
And those were labor. Those were union places.
Not back then.
Oh.
Yeah, not back then.
Okay.
So, because you're talking Teddy Roosevelt was president.
So the 20s and 30s.
Yes.
Before the Depression or after?
Before the Depression, after World War One.
Okay.
So then, so Teddy Roosevelt was president, did not believe the things he was hearing about the meatpacking plants. So he sent one of his people, that's what the whole book's about. Upton Sinclair wrote the book, and then they read it in the White House and were like, this is BS. There's no way this is happening. So he sent one of his people out there to verify if it was true. And then they telegrammed back and told him it's true. And so they had kids working, right? They had 12-year-old kids working in the meatpacking. It was disgusting.
Mm-hmm.
And the guy vomited while he went there. He's like, this is unbelievable because it's true. So then Teddy Roosevelt instituted the 40-hour work week, all that stuff, no child labor. You had to be 18 years, I think 16 maybe at the time.
Was it Teddy Roosevelt that did the 40-hour work week? I mean, weren't the unions
he
prevalent to making that happen?
I think he started it, and then the unions jumped in.
And I'm not disagreeing with what you're saying.
But I think that was his plan to establish a work rule type thing in America. He may not have done it all, but it started from Upton Sinclair's book, The Jungle.
Okay.
And then but I mean, the union goes back to the shoemakers, right? In New York or Philadelphia.
Yeah, the textile, clothing and textile.
They were like the first one to form. And then there was a black union of caulkers in the late 1800s. That
CHLK, CHAL.
That went on strike.
With you giving us a history lesson, I think now's a good time to call in number two.
Let's do that. Yes.
Yeah, but he
wants to give us an education on our topic from last week.
Number two.
But real quick here too. But to answer your question, because I didn't. So one time I had a union company come out and they were going to pour concrete, and they were union. And then I had a non-union come out, and it was a lot cheaper. And my neighbor had gone with the non-union people, and another neighbor had gone across the street with the union people. And I'm going to tell you, the union job looked a lot better than the non-union job. So I thought, holy shit, if we do that, I'm going with these guys. I'm going to pay $1,200 more, but shit, it's worth. They got concrete and shit over here with the non-union guys all over the driveway, the main street. It was just a disaster. So, and then I saw a union guy build union carpenter build a porch in the neighborhood in like a fucking day, right? And then some of the neighbors had, and then people were out. Another neighbor had some stuff built similar, and they were out for like a week. You know, it's like, so I mean, there's something to be said about it to me. It has its place and purpose, but at some things,
does it still today?
And maybe, you know, hey, you know what? If the union did what it did in the 30s, 40s, and 50s, we all probably would have a worse work life. I mean,
because going back to your point, I know we need to call Bill in, but the textile union or the textile people back in the day in New York City, they were forced. You're working 12, or you're not working at all.
Right.
You're and if you didn't, or if you
like you were a slave,
if you show a resistance or a kickback to that, they just shut the doors.
Yeah, I think unions made the country a better place.
They locked out the employees.
Yeah, but
anyway, Tim, what I mean, do you think though?
I have all kinds of opinions, but we need to call Bill. I'm gonna
Right. I just figured we can still talk while Tony's calling in. Bill.
I would. Let's see what Bill says.
Yes.
Wait, I got my intro.
Hello.
Good morning.
It is Bill, the man.
Number
is
two.
Is he or is he one?
He's number 2.
I think he's one too.
Yeah,
I think he's one. He's one. He's number one. Bill live. Welcome to the show, man.
Hey.
How are you, buddy?
Still number 2. I'm pretty good.
Hey,
the
we
wife's
are
number
live,
one.
by the way. We are live. We are no intro. You're straight up live.
Straight up in.
Are you doing competition again this year, or do you know?
I am eligible.
Okay.
The tests are after the week of August 17th, which is Technician Appreciation Week.
Mm-hmm.
Then they're going to have the test that the following week.
Nice.
And then probably about 2 or 3 weeks after that, I'll find out if I'm going. This year they're holding them in Richmond, California.
Wow.
All right.
Which is above
Go ahead.
Oakland.
Okay. Nice. How have you been?
Pretty good.
Good to hear from you. You know, just before we go any further, Bill, or number 2 or whatever, you're always welcome. Just anytime that you want to, you know, if just get with Tim or myself, you're always welcome to pop in. We'd love to have you in studio again too. So just so you know.
Yeah. Okay.
So I thought
sometimes I listen to the podcast and I'm hollering and screaming.
Bill, what county is Vegas in?
Vegas is in Clark County.
Thank you.
That's true.
Named after one of the founders or senator.
Are you a history buff?
Yes.
Okay.
Right.
He's probably
Tony
done a
was
lot.
giving
County
us-
is the largest county.
So David's topic to start with was unions. He kind of gave us a background, this or that. And Tony fired off some crazy knowledge of history of World War I and the Depression and this book that you got to read. And so I thought it was a good time to chime into you because I know you've got some corrections for us from last week
On cocaine?
on cocaine and Coca-Cola.
Or do you know who's it was in the White House?
Hey, I can't. Well, what's surprising about all that is all that security.
Thank you.
And nobody can tell you.
Thank you, Bill.
You think they know, Bill, and they're just not saying?
Well, yeah, I do.
Okay.
Of course they do. All right, hit us with the Coca-Cola. Let's not get off topic here.
Coca-Cola was developed by Pemberton, who was but a Civil War veteran suffering from an injury and had a morphine addiction.
I did not know
so
that.
he was trying to develop some kind of medical tonic to get people off the morphine. So using the coca leaves, which is cocaine, and cola, which is caffeine, that's how Coca-Cola got started.
Okay.
And then he had to add the syrup or something to give it the sweet taste so people drink it. So I'm going to get you off morphine, but get you a little bump and cocaine or caffeine. I'm like,
Little
geez,
bump.
who would stop using
Bump
morphine?
and caffeine, baby.
That's a jolt, man.
It's not still in.
So yeah,
Coca-Cola,
you're going to
though,
get off.
right?
But he ended up
We're
with
gonna
a
send,
real bad.
sales off the chart.
Yeah.
Sorry, Bill.
Well, if they went back to the old formula, they'd have a fierce following.
There you go.
So is it still in there, Bill?
No, I mean, they've had to take that out. You can't.
But they're still, Bill,
But
the
they
only
did.
one allowed to import cocaine. The only American business.
They can import.
That-
I don't know if they
Import.
use it for their coca leaf or not.
Yeah.
So speaking of your cocaine, on Shark Week this week, supposedly there's cocaine sharks out there.
Yeah, I just heard a video about saw a
the
video
hell does that
like
mean?
that.
So from all these drugs that are being dumped off the coast of Florida, sometimes from these cartels, they think the
They eat
sharks
it?
are eating the cocaine, and so they think there's cocaine sharks out
Because
there.
of like the cocaine bear, right?
Yes,
Okay.
exactly. No
Yeah.
longer cocaine beer. That's how
Yeah.
that's how they're advertising. It's cocaine shark.
Oh my God.
Let's check them into
Jeez.
rehab.
That's the last thing we need is a shark
Shark
jacked
on
up on cocaine, dude. Wow. Wow.
Tommy Lee
They're
has
mean
nothing
enough.
on them.
No, yeah. That. Oh my God. Yeah. That's funny.
So, Bill, have you started reserving your plane tickets or kind of looking for travel plans for Richmond, California yet, or you just
Not
assume?
yet.
All right. I didn't know if you were being.
No, I'm not one that wants to sit there and say I'm going and all this stuff because you've seen too many guys travel, test and train for a heavyweight fight and get knocked out in the first round. So
Bill, are you in the union? Are you a union employee, or have you ever worked for a union?
no, I have not. No, I am not currently.
Do you know anyone that is?
Yes, David was.
No need for names. Hold on here. So my question to you is, would you prefer to be in a union at your job, or would you prefer to work for a company like you do now? It's a non-union company.
Having never worked for a union, I really can't answer that question because, I mean, I see the benefits. I've tried to go to a union place because I see the benefits of the retirement would be the only thing.
Mm-hmm.
Well, what was the gentleman, Bill, you knew that worked at the railroad and Tim knew? Because if my thinking is if they didn't
Dave.
hold, what's his name?
I think it was Dave.
We had him on the
Yeah, we had him
podcast.
on. It was a good podcast.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I mean,
He's a railroad. He's a union dude.
yeah, because I mean, well, my thing is if they, man, imagine if they weren't union, they may not.
So is Jeremy, right?
Jeremy
That's
is
what I was
too,
just
yeah.
gonna mention
UPS.
Jeremy. Yeah.
Yeah. He's talked about that before.
We're just talking about the benefits and the not. What do you see? Is there a place and time right now for unions, or do you think the unions are old school?
I dated a girl a long time ago. Her dad was a big time union in the UAW, and he just thought everybody made $30-40 an hour,
Regardless.
regardless. I mean, he was just like, I can't see. And sometimes I just don't like the mentality where a union is better. We're going to do it better. I mean, I honestly, I hope this yellow freight stuff works out good for both parties because when my buddy got laid off from the railroad, he had a hell of a time finding a job because
Right.
he was part of a union. So these guys, and that company doesn't want the union to come into their job site. So
So
they're like, I don't know if we want to hire you.
that brings us to our next topic. And Dave, you got any more on that?
Just
'Cause he
one,
kinda-
just real brief, and I don't want to prolong this out any further than what I already
but
have.
he has notes, so we got to get through the
I
notes.
did bring my.
Hey, Bill, you should see this guy. He literally
He's got
has
notes.
handwritten notes.
Bill, as you know, I normally don't
Studied
do my homework,
hard.
So, Bill, before we go any further, August.
He's the one that prepares for his shows.
Before Saturday, the first Saturday in August, we're going to be at the Great Divide. You're more than welcome. About 10:30 in the morning, swing by. We'll have you on the podcast if you're cool with that. So my
Okay.
my sister's a retired Walmart employee, and as I mentioned earlier, Walmart has 10.7 million employees. And so I asked her. I was talking to her yesterday. I said, she works with me now, and I said, "Tell me about your 28 years at Walmart. Were you paid fairly? Were you underpaid?" And she goes, "Without being whatever, yes, I was underpaid." And I said, "Did you ever advocate for yourself or whatever?" And she says, "No." She goes, "And at the end, I got 2% and everybody got 2%. I said, "So your raises were based on everybody getting the same thing?" And she said, "Yep." So, Walmart is a $145 billion gross profit company, and your hourly employees make what they make. So anyway, I'll go.
So
That's the
with
last
that
thing I
being
wanted
said,
to say.
that's one other my other one point to this is you can bitch, moan, and complain all you want.
Right.
Go open up your own company.
Right.
Go make the $100 million profit like UPS Parcel's doing, right?
Mhm.
Make the $145 billion that Walmart does. So you got two options in life. Either you work for the man or you are the man, right?
Right.
I mean, that's the facts of it,
No,
right?
I
So
agree.
Yeah.
we can talk about how these CEOs make so much money and look how much they're bringing in all this and they're getting all these benefits. Well, go get your own. Why don't you start?
Of course, but you could be
You
you could be a truck driver for Walmart and get paid $140.
Oh my gosh,
That's
I know.
good money.
So,
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Just saying.
so
Makes me think I had a bad career choice.
well,
You're
I'm
on
with
this
you,
podcast, Bill.
I'm
You did
with
make
you.
a bad career choice. Jesus.
Nobody on this
Should have
podcast.
been.
Damn it, Bill.
Should have been a truck driver. 140,000 a year.
It's
Instead-
true, man. We've had them on.
Instead, you deal with truck drivers that don't even know why the ICC bumper's bent.
Right.
Oh, there you
Yeah.
go. There you go.
I got no clue, boss. Can
We
you
just
fix
had
it?
that happen.
I know you did.
Wow. So anyway.
All right, let's get into yellow.
Hey, I can't see why my lift gate won't go down.
Was it because it was still hooked to the chain that was a safety chain?
There you go.
All right. Timmy D with
Elevator.
topic 2.
Floor 2.
A yellow update.
Floor 2, Timmy D.
When's the,
Cosmetics.
When's the masseuse come in?
Liquor.
We'll have to travel.
So yellow is the big news right now, at least the forefront in the last couple days over the UPS parcel negotiations. So it sounds like yellow. They're the Teamsters have basically delivered a letter saying that they have the right to go on strike come next week, come Monday. So I guess per the contract, they have to give a 72-hour written notice to the local terminals, and they did that last week, from my understanding. And so, at one point, I believe Yellow was like the second largest with all their different things that fell underneath them, right? They have a bunch of companies,
Yeah.
YRC Freight being one of them. I think Holland here in the Midwest. So
New Pen.
Technically, I mean, if we want to be technical about
They
it,
were
at
number
one-
one.
Yep, Roadway.
they were number one at one
They were
point.
number
So
one.
Roadway was.
back in
Well, when they combined, they were number one because they
Right, sorry.
ended up being 10 billion. Well, Roadway was one. They were two.
Yellow
then
was 2.
They
and then
remained one.
They went to one,
and there was a
then-
$10 billion company.
Yep, and then they bought all these regionals,
Holland,
and so wow, what's the market going to do with that, right?
Mhm.
I mean, Celadon. Remember when Celadon
Yeah,
back when
right.
it was at 2019?
That was
That was
huge.
as a Miss Cook of the books and blink of your eyes. This is more of a labor dispute.
Boy, that was out of
again, it's a
nowhere,
union
too.
company, just like and I think they're the same union. I guess they all roll up to the same. There's a new guy named Sean O'Brien in charge of the Teamsters out there. So, man, he is juggling. He's juggling some balls to say the least, right? He had T-Force was a contract in July. He had to get done.
Yeah, ABF.
ABF. He's got, which the yellow contract's not due until next year, but I think the whole thing of the yellow is they need to do it to refinance at
And
the
a
end
change
of
of
the day.
operations, right?
Right,
All that.
yeah, because they want to put it as yellow versus all the different brand names out there. To do that, they don't want to violate the contract, so they're trying to renegotiate the contract early.
Yellow one.
Yeah, yep.
What, I believe it's yellow. Isn't it one yellow?
Or
One
one
yellow.
yellow.
Not
I'm
trying to
sorry.
be
Yep.
whatever.
No,
Just-
and
Dave brought his notes.
boom, 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 and so the yellow. So, man, it's 22,000 Teamster jobs, a lot. So if you do your math, that's over $1 million of revenue the Teamsters get from those guys and gals a month, and it doesn't sound like they're willing to talk. So What do you think?
Can you take a neutral look at this? And I'm not asking you to point a finger in any direction. Can you take a neutral look at this and be like, I see whatever
I can see both sides. I mean, you think about it, right? You got.
I mean, based off of what you just said in the previous conversation, you can go work somewhere else.
Right.
Blah blah blah.
Yeah, you can either work for the man or be the man. And the Sean O'Brien's new,
right?
So he wants to show.
Trying to make a name.
Yep, he's trying to make a name for himself. Right. The last regime was in there, I don't know, 35 years or something. Right.
Did you see when Sean O'Brien went in front of Congress? Was it Congress or whatever?
Yeah.
And that gentleman from, was it either Missouri or Kansas?
I believe it was
they
Missouri.
were barking at one another.
They offered to fight
outside.
Yeah.
I mean, you kind of like, I get the moxie too. I mean, you got to, having some moxie like that is pretty, just in my opinion, I like it. Anyway, Tim, I'm sorry.
No, I'm just saying.
Like
so, and it's over Yellow not wanting to pay the health and pension out there, which is $50 million that they
currently owe.
That they currently owe. They basically they're trying to defer, not with interest yet. They have until Sunday to pay it, basically. From what I've read. I mean, there's 1,000 different articles out there. But so then they're trying to not pay into it for July and August is what it sounds like.
Isn't there already irreversible damage done with your customer base when you do bullshit like this? Excuse my language.
Yeah.
When you pull a bullshit
you would
stunt
think,
like this.
but so, and that's probably what the company's thinking. But the question is the Teamsters thinking that, right? Is Sean O'Brien, does he care? That's the question. I mean, it's only 22,000 jobs. I don't want to say it the wrong way, but he's also got the UPS on his thing. That's 340,000. So now he's really juggling like, okay, 22,000, it can wait. The contract's there. Maybe that's his thoughts. I'm worried about the 340,000.
Right. But I'm looking on the yellow side of it, where you pull a bullshit stunt by not paying into your employees' pension and health.
Yeah.
What irreversible? Because as a customer on my end of it, I'm like, in a way, and I'm not saying this legitimately, but in a way, I could be like, F Yellow. If you're not going to take care of your employees, F you. Why would I come back to you after this bullshit stunt that I've already cut business off? Why am I going to come back to you?
Right.
I'm not trying to be any certain. Sorry, Bill, go ahead.
You're fine. Well, if you look at it, Yellow Freight, I mean, they're in a big, they got to compete with other companies. And the more you have to go out and pay for labor and all that, the more you have to charge.
Right.
So you've got a lot of what Yellow Freight, I believe, gets is a lot of other union companies that have union workers that well, this is who we got to deal with. This is what rates we have to pay because union will help a union will help a union will help a union with all the deliveries.
So,
but if you
go ahead,
in
Bill.
the outside, an outside carrier, and you can go get it shipped with now Celadon, but with Werner or Schneider, and save yourself $1,000. I mean, what are you going to do?
So
that's the only thing I worry about.
So the president of Yellow had come out and kind of to what you're saying there is for us to compete with non-union carriers, we need to get this done. And that's kind of what he's trying to tell the Teamster is that's his stance for us to compete with a non-union because there's only a couple non-unions left, right? It's Yellow, T-Force, and ABF. That's it. Everyone else closed their doors. So the jobs on the trucking side for the Teamster themselves is getting very thin. They're very thin, right? I mean, look at the ODs that have kind of just, 10 years ago, they were number 13, 14th of the nation. Now they're number one and have been for the last few years, non-union, right? And I don't know how that works, but so that's kind of the Yellow stance. And so there's a lot of hardball going back. And
it's going
to be interesting what happens
as a
next week.
As a 35-year loyal customer to that company, I'm pissed. Fuck you. Fuck.
Easy.
No, I have
Easy
no.
guy.
I'm going to go ahead and give I'm free to say what I want to.
Yeah, but we don't need the F-bombs
you
on
don't
there.
make. Oh, whatever. I make the effort to be loyal as F to you, and you don't even reach out to me and tell me that, hey, it's going to be okay, or hey, this is where we're going.
Yeah.
F that company. F them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This
I can see your
infuriates
point.
me.
And you're not the only
Infuriates
one
me.
that's upset about it.
Absolutely.
right?
I know. I'm sorry, Bill. I don't mean to be that way, but this annoys
Oh,
the
no.
shit out of me.
Yeah.
I've been
I
overly loyal to
understand.
you. Overly loyal.
So the question would be then, Dave, is if you're that mad, how matters the rest of the customers, right?
Oh, yes.
Probably
and I'm not a
the same, yeah.
union dude. I mean, could you imagine how pissed a union employee is or whatever?
So have you talked to any of the drivers
I
that
want
showed
to.
up?
I've wanted to, but I haven't.
So
Unfortunately,
that's the question because
Right.
you know I've heard people out there say that the drivers are they are extremely pissed, just like the UPS drivers are extremely pissed
if Yellow
Because that's
gets
another
if
one.
Yellow gets
because
through
it's
this,
costing their jobs.
if Yellow gets through this, you're going to have to work hard to get my business back.
Right.
Period.
Yeah. So and that's,
Absolutely. Period.
Well,
go ahead, Bill.
that's going to be around everybody.
Sure.
Oh, yeah.
Sure.
But
Oh yeah.
as a mechanic on my side of it, I mean, I saw the whole Celadon thing go down, and I talked to guys that worked there. They couldn't get their toolboxes.
Right.
Isn't that's just
So
crazy, right?
I apologize.
I'm here to
for
tell
that.
you right now, if I was a Yellow employee as a mechanic, I would have rolled up with a trailer this weekend.
Mhm.
And loaded your stuff up.
Whoa, just
Wow.
in case.
Yeah.
Because, hey guys, this is my livelihood. You're not going to hold on to it. Because
Mhm.
it was like 2 or 3 months when they got in there and got their stuff. And
And what do you think a mechanic's toolbox is? That's got to be close to 10 grand worth of tools.
Oh my gosh, I would imagine. But I
10
wouldn't-
grand? Are you kidding me?
Does,
I
it-
paid
I'm light on that number.
does a union carrier own the? Does a company own the tools? Or
That's a good question. I don't know.
It depends. Now, at the railroad, they supply you with everything you need
That's
to
what I
know
would
you got.
think,
You
yeah.
have. You have that. Yellow Freight, I don't know. I had a good buddy that wouldn't work there. I think he brought his own toolbox in.
So that's I had a buddy who used to
Um,
work there. And I think he had his own toolbox, but they provided like the heavy duty type stuff. So he had his own smaller stuff, if I remember correctly. But I don't quote me on that.
So, Bill, do you? Yeah,
But I
your-
mean,
at your place, do you have?
even where I'm
is it-
at, we supply with tools.
Okay, gotcha.
So you don't have to have your own
They buy-
toolbox.
I do for basic hand tools. I mean, I have more than basic hand tools.
Okay.
So Bill, when you go to
A
compete,
lot of stuff they do supply.
when you go to compete for your number 2 spot, do you take your own tools or those company? Are those
Um,
company?
If you had
provided
company
No,
tools, would you be number one?
or vice versa?
It's
Yeah.
possible.
So everyone get the is it like NASCAR? Everyone's on the same playing field with it.
Yeah, that's right. Supposedly,
You get a Craftsman brand of this and a Cobalt brand of that, and that's what we got.
cracking. They're cracking.
Hell, my
Cobalt.
side lockers were $6,000 a piece, and that's 2 of those. And
Dude,
the
wow.
hutch was into the 6.
What the hell is
and
a
the
side? I mean, I
toolbox
know what a
was like-
sidewalker is for the freight industry. What is a sidewalker for a mechanic?
Right.
Hey, Bill, I got a question
I'll have
for
to
you.
send you guys a picture of it.
Bill, I got a question for you. You prepared for it?
Sure.
You sure? You can tell us the
Yeah.
truth. Don't be. Have you ever seen a UFO?
Oh, jeez.
Oh,
No.
Do you know anybody that's ever seen a UFO?
No.
Okay.
I can't say they don't exist.
do you own a UFO?
Are you on a UFO right now?
Are you working on one?
Would you be interested in repairing
like-
one?
My government clearance will not allow me to comment on
Do you
that.
have
Can
tools?
you meet me at County Road 450?
Oh my God!
So Bill, refresh my memory. I think one of the last times we talked, you lived out or worked in Nevada for a while. Isn't that right?
Yep.
So during all that time, you didn't see anything. There was nothing.
Yeah, I
that
know with
you
the Area
saw
51,
or-
Roswell.
Well, Area 51, you can't even get close to. But
Unless
we
you're in a
lived.
UFO.
Yeah, unless you,
Yeah, true.
unless you are a UFO or Bob
But-
Lazar.
Well said. Boom.
North of us, where Tonopah is, or north where I went to high school, that's where the stealth bomber was located.
Yeah.
But during your
doesn't
time there,
sound
you
very
never looked
sneaky.
up and saw anything that like.
Like, what the hell's that, man?
No, but I think there's definitely something in the water with all the crazy people that are out there.
Mhm.
Well, let's just get to the UFO.
You want to get to it?
Yeah, let's
do
just
it.
get to it.
Yeah. I'm sorry, guys.
All right, you're good.
All right. UFO is my favorite topic. So Bill has never seen a UFO, doesn't know anyone who's seen a UFO. David has seen a UFO. Timmy, have you ever seen a UFO?
Not wait. Not that I know of.
That's true.
Maybe I have.
Right. He identified it as an object.
I did.
He's like unidentified. He identified it.
I did take. I did. I you know, since Tony's been talking about this stuff, I did watch listen to a nice. Shows you how busy I was at work this week. A 4-hour podcast about UFOs on the History Channel.
Oh, you did? Yeah, yeah.
This was about. They called it a Tic Tac. Yeah, that's
the Tic Tac.
A Tic Tac. Yeah, they came out of the water and shot across the sky, or whatever. And there was some Air Force people that zoomed up on it, and when they did, it was like, nope, see ya. You know.
Yeah.
I'm like, how do you not have video evidence?
Well, that's the whole
completely fucking baffles me.
You think they have?
Sorry for the F-bomb.
Oh my goodness, they've got. You think they got dash cameras in the F-16s or what?
You surely would have some sort of recording. Something.
The IRs, the infrared cameras are recording it, but they don't have like pure video. And then the only reason I bring it up is it seems to be a topic lately in the main news.
But is it as a topic, just as a distraction?
That's what I'm trying to figure out.
I think that's how we're going to teleport freight moving forward.
May have to.
Well, I probably think it's a distraction.
Do you? Okay, tell me about it, Bill. What do you think?
Well, through the whole, it's like I told the wife when they had that, God, I can't think of his last name. The guy that shot the 3 people in the riot.
Oh, up in Wisconsin?
Yeah.
The guy
they had that plastered
White House.
everywhere.
Rittenhouse.
Rittenhouse, yeah.
He shot
that
one
plastered.
He shot 2.
No, he killed 2, shot 3.
All right. I thought,
okay.
It don't matter. Anyways.
Yeah, anyway.
But anyway, while that was going on, that Ghislaine Gillespie,
Ghislaine Maxwell?
Yeah, Ghislaine Maxwell, I'm sorry.
Yeah, Epstein's girl.
Her trial was going on at that time.
Right.
So it's always one of those things, hey, look what's going on over here, but don't pay attention.
Yeah,
to
look
what's
over
going on
here.
over here.
It's like the David Copperfield thing. Look over here, but here's what's really going on.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
We're going to get you interested in this. We're going to kick this trial out over here because we don't anybody want to get close to this little black book that she had.
Right. So Bill, hang on though, real quick here though. Okay, here's the more fair question, better question.
The $10 million question.
Do you believe in UFOs? Do you think they're real?
At some point, I think some of them are real, but yeah, I can't dispel it.
Tim?
I'd be amazed if I ever saw one, but
here's what I would tell you.
I don't know if I'd tell anybody I saw one.
Really?
Right.
You don't want to be like the people in Nevada that called the police.
In the backyard.
In the backyard.
Bill, correct me if I'm wrong. What was it you said on Facebook that we just have the right to shoot them if we see one or something like that? Is that what you said?
No, you said if one landed in the back of his yard.
Yeah, my yard. Yeah.
Right when you guys said that, I pictured him like Clint Eastwood in Gran Torino shooting with a gun.
There you go.
I'm just going to run away.
There you go.
So UFO, by definition, is unidentified flying object.
Yeah. So
to answer your question, I see UFOs all the time. I can't identify what kind of plane that is.
That's a good point.
Right? So to answer your question,
the weather balloon.
Yeah, I believe.
Or weather balloon, yeah.
Yeah. But at the same token, I think, in my opinion, it's not aliens like everyone thinks. I think it's countries, to include ourselves, and other countries that are testing new technology, trying to fly things around. And it could be the civilian sector at this point.
I think it is.
That is flying stuff around to see how their military or other countries react to it. That's just, again, unidentified flying object. Yeah, there's all the time. There's an unidentified. You can't see them in the clouds, but you can hear them, or you see it and don't hear it. So it could be a new species. I don't think it's aliens, so I don't believe in that crap. I believe it's human controlled at the end of the day. Go ahead, David.
100%. I agree with that 100%.
Yeah. So the latest is the Senate had a hearing, and they're supposed to divulge this information. So they've been sending their committee people to these bases, and these generals have been shutting them down. Like, not
why
letting
is
them
this
see
top
stuff.
secret? I don't understand.
Well, that's
what about
I think
it
it
needs to
loses
be
what
top
Tim.
secret?
I think it's based on what Tim said.
But then still,
is that it's us.
Whatever. I
Yeah.
I think it's United States only.
I think
it's China or Russia or
Well, what's weird to me about it all, because I get into
Who
it.
cares? I mean, I don't mean who cares
Yeah.
on the top. Like, I just think it's a distraction thing. Like, look over
So-
here, UFOs, blah, blah, blah.
So here's the kind of the theory. In 47, Roswell happened, right? It crashed.
Allegedly.
Okay, so they changed the story. They changed the story 3 times on what it was, right?
Right,
First
yeah.
it was an alien aircraft, then it was a weather balloon. Today, they changed its story again in 1991. The story in 1991 became it was a Teflar, high sophisticated, highly engineered weather balloon.
Okay.
So they changed the story 3 times, right?
Mhm.
So my point is, and there's a great podcast right now that you could watch. It's called the Sean Ryan Podcast, and he's having all these experts on that have testified in front of Congress and Senate about working at these places. There's a whole thing about the Antarctica where there's the military. We've been doing stuff there since the 50s. They can cause earthquakes. I mean, dude, it blows your mind.
About working at Roswell too, or is that a
Well, so when the craft crashed at Roswell in 47, it was actually an alien craft, and somehow the people there that were signed under secrecy say that it was a metal you could put in your hands and bend, and then it would form back into its original shape. So then, if you go back and you track history, so think about this. This is the weird part. So in the 40s, we were in biplanes. We had no jets, right? We had no jets. So from 1946, it ends, the World War II. You jump to just 10 years, we're going to the moon, bro. I mean,
we haven't been back.
and haven't been back. So how in the heck did we jump from that in the late 40s to the mid 50s? Now we've got Teflons, aluminum foil, all this stuff was invented, like a huge leap in a short amount of time. So
The question that's not been asked yet is, what do you think?
oh yeah,
You bring it up, so
I think there probably was there's got to be life out there. Maybe something crashed. Maybe there's a civilization
I'm
that
So we're just like the American population. You
Yeah.
and
I
Bill
can
say
believe that
yes. Him and I
Roswell
say
was
no. It's
actual thing.
50-50.
right.
Bill, I'm sorry.
You're fine. I can believe that Roswell was an actual alien,
I do. I
Something.
believe it. I believe it.
and that's where a lot of our technology is coming from. But
I
I,
think so,
also
too.
don't believe we ever went to the moon.
Right. Well, they're yeah. Well, yeah.
You don't believe we did?
Well, we had the infancy of TV, and next thing you know, we're filming in space.
Right.
We
And
got a
radio
rocket ship
transmissions
building. I
and
would
all
say a
that.
better TV than you would have.
Back
Right?
then, I mean,
It's questionable, man.
I would never deny that there isn't life out there,
Yeah.
but that it has the ability to get to us. I don't think
So here's my question about the moon landing. Okay, and this is my
Right,
only
please.
question, Bill. You ready for this? Because Bill, you'll like this, Bill. Supposedly
course.
they planted a flag on the moon, right? Right?
mhm.
Okay, and they left it. Okay, so why is there not telescopes all over the planet Earth so I can look at that flag? I would actually pay $20. Come right here, right now. You can see the flag on the moon with this high-powered telescope.
$20. They just paid $250,000 a person to get in a
submersible.
Tic Tac
and
to go
die.
down and go see the Titanic.
Die and die and die.
Come on.
And
You think
die.
you'll be able to pay $20 to see the
I would
flag?
pay
I
20
mean, I
bucks
gotta
to see
sign
the
this
flag.
waiver that this thing might implode.
If you-
Hold on.
if
You
you
think
look-
the-
split second.
You
if
think
you-
that flag is
okay.
still there?
I
You got to
don't.
change your flag down here on Earth once a year. That thing's been up there for
But-
70 years?
If you planted the flag, why isn't there a telescope on Earth so I can see the damn flag? I'd pay to see it.
Wouldn't you just buy the
Wouldn't you
telescope?
pay to see it?
Wouldn't you just buy the telescope?
It'd probably be an expensive telescope.
Get your drone out. Let's send it up. See what we can
It
get.
won't go that
Yeah,
high.
you've got
man.
your telescope.
I
It
mean,
won't.
yeah,
out there.
I'm in agreement. Why is there no pictures of a flag?
Yeah,
Right.
why can't they send a satellite over and zoom in real quick and go, boom, there's a flag, assholes. We made it.
There's the same reason that when I took a girl home from the bar, there was
Right.
no pictures because no one needs to know about it. My story, and I'll stick to it.
I mean, Bill, Google Earth's got a
Yeah.
picture of my house, but I can't see the flag.
And
on
then the
moon.
girl doesn't have no pictures of Tim because she's like, hey, I ain't taking pictures of that ugly ass.
Oh, man.
No, I wouldn't. Can't admit to that.
and yeah, and
She's
I
probably
mean, this,
gnawed both her arms off so she can't go drinking anymore at the bar.
Dang.
Oh my God.
Number
Boom.
2.
That was
Bill
number
from-
one, dude.
yeah, that catapults him to number one right there.
Oh, man.
I mean, that goes with any scenario, especially nowadays. If you just take a picture. Well, how is it nobody can take a picture now when nothing's going on or whatever?
I know. Well, it's like you said with them too. They're always these
Bigfoot.
grainy pictures.
Right.
Yeah, Bigfoot.
Yeah. And modern technology, there's a crystal clear pictures with your phone.
Yeah.
You don't have your phone out to take a picture of the.
I know.
Anyway.
Supposedly, the men in black show up and take your technology, so you can't spread the rumor. Can't spread the.
So that would be. I'm surprised Samsung or Apple haven't got in on this, of a selfie on the moon or out even in the space the international spaceship.
Yeah, going around in their spaceship. There's the flag.
Yeah, holding a phone. Like that is great advertising. We can handle space. That's how good our phone is.
Touche.
No picture.
Yeah.
No telescope on Earth can point to it and tell me where it's at.
Again, we're a flyby planet. I don't know why anybody else.
I don't think it gets
we're the
that hot
redneck
that it
planet,
could burn
dude.
the flag.
Ghetto planet. What's
you
that?
say?
Bill, go.
I just wonder if the flag, the fabric they made out of it, possibly deteriorating because the light and dark and the difference in the temperatures, but
right,
it can't be any worse than
Arizona,
Earth, because we're right there.
Arizona, yeah, it can't be.
Hey, it's a dry heat. It's a whole totally different game.
Bill, so my question: why we're here? Whatever happened to Pluto? I miss Pluto.
The planet Pluto?
Yeah,
planet.
It got denounced as a planet, but back in like 2015 or 16, they announced it as a planet again.
Pluto is a dwarf planet that lies in the Kuiper Belt, an area full of icy bodies and dwarf planets out past
Notes on
Neptune.
this guy.
Tony.
Pluto is very small,
Tony,
only about the width of the United States.
Tony,
and its biggest.
He's been waiting on this question apparently.
All the things we talk about
Do they
that
have union laborers there?
relevance.
Yeah.
All the damn things we talk about that need backup or relevance, and here you are whipping stuff out about Pluto.
Pluto, yeah.
Jesus. But
'Cause I knew it's not,
it isn't classified as a planet now, though, is it or no?
It is.
Oh, I'm
It's
sorry.
back.
But there's still
Okay,
a debate
okay.
whether it really is or not.
Could you imagine the
I
hate
wanna
mail of the
just-
dude that declassified Pluto as a planet god? Seriously.
All the
you
research books
imagine?
are all pissed off at him.
God,
Yeah, because they got
back
changed
in
their
my
books.
day, it was a
Yeah.
planet. How come it's not a planet
I know.
anymore?
In 100 years from now,
Darn.
we'll
The teachers
we'll
union
think he's a hero.
wanting to kill him. Yeah.
We'll think he's a hero.
Yeah.
But back in our, but like I'm assuming the three of us, but the four of us, our textbooks, like Jupiter or Saturn, probably only had one or two moons. Or now there's like a poop ton of moons or whatever.
It's what? So, all right.
We got technology can see more,
There you go.
You what?
but
See Uranus.
I said you have technology to see more. But it's just like it's so different than 20 years ago they told us eggs were bad for us and
Right.
don't have too many of these. You
Right.
can't have these, but they're like, oh no, now that stuff's good. You need to have it.
But
Nobody
next
knows.
week they'll be bad again.
Milk,
Next week
too,
they'll be
right?
back on the bad.
Well,
one.
did you hear
Yeah,
with
always.
the aspartame and the like Diet
Yeah,
Coke is
right.
cancer
Mhm.
now?
Right.
But do you think, because we must as a world, not just a nation, but as a world, I bet we launch 1,000 things into space a day in 24 hours. And there's got to be a stat out there, but
right.
do you think some of this flying object stuff is
Might
dying
be.
satellites that are coming down and are burning up
Well,
the atmosphere, and that's why they
dude,
disappear?
Great point.
Yes,
Because
excellent.
recently there was a discovery on a beach of this circular round thing. And people were like, dude, it looks really weird. It was in Japan. It was washed up on their ocean. Ended up, some guy internet figured out. Some guy on the internet matched it up. It was a rocket booster separation that fell into the ocean and washed up on their shore. And it looks like it's like some alien type thing. It's a weird looking thing.
So you got to think too, to Tim's point with that, all the junk that's up there, that they have to plan whatever they're going to launch based on the
they have to
trajectory of
dodge
the
it.
junk.
Yeah, they have to
Right?
dodge it. Yeah.
That's incredible.
Am I wrong?
Yeah, no, they do. They have to dodge it.
I don't know.
They need a big old one of those those street sweepers. They need one of those that
Oh,
go
yeah.
up there and
A
just
big net.
They need to somehow come up with a way to create a black hole and take the black hole up there and swallow it all around.
There are, David, 36,500 objects larger than 10 centimeters.
Is it called the junk belt or what's it
Yeah.
yeah,
called?
junk
Yeah.
belt.
Yeah,
Yeah.
is it that? Okay.
Yeah.
So to your point though, Tony, why don't we have telescopes that we can see the junk belt
That's what
too?
I'm saying, dude.
Jesus.
We're suppressed as people.
We are
We're
suppressed.
surprised.
A revolution.
We don't
Start a
the
revolution,
revolution to
producer
see it
Tony.
all.
Revolution.
The revolution.
Hey, Bill, you're a mechanic. You think you could build us something?
Build us. Hey, you should build us a spaceship.
Hey, number
dude.
2.
Yeah. She's build
Hey,
us a
wait a
second.
second now.
Second
I
best
had a guy
spaceship.
that said that had way more money, and I don't know about education, but he developed a Game Boy submarine, and that didn't work out.
Oh,
too
Oh,
well.
yeah. Yeah. Well
I don't
said.
want to be synonymous with the guy that built a rocket ship and sent for dipshits up
Bill, do you miss us?
with an Xbox controller.
Hey, Bill, do you miss us? Do you miss the podcast coming on?
Oh yeah, Oh yeah.
So
It's
is it
fun.
every time you listen that you get pissed off at us, where you're like, "Huh, that's not even."
No,
remotely
it's not
right."
getting mad,
These
but
guys-
just like when you guys started talking about the Nye County, and I'm like, no. Nye County's got its own little problems. Clark County's got its own little problems.
Yeah,
And it all wraps around heroin.
there you go.
Smack.
Well, there's something out there. I mean, because I can remember growing up in high school, we had a guy. Supposedly he was a lawyer, and he lived out in a dugout hole out in the outskirts of the town. And he would walk into town in a suit pants, and he took the knife and cut him into shorts, and he had a tie that was always tied, but it was only like 3 inches long because he cut the rest of it off. And he was out there for years.
You think he was an alien?
Dude, what?
There's something mentally
So
wrong.
he's living
with
in a
him.
hole.
He
What do
had
you
a-
mean? Like he dug a hole in the side
That
of a
he'd
mountain?
be doing
and
a lot of
lived in
things to
it?
them people out there.
Yeah.
My good.
The hole that he stayed in looked
Like Saddam Hussein's.
like a bowl
Okay.
that he
Like
just
a
kind of
crater?
dug out right there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you got to think that the critters had, the scorpions or the snakes or something.
Oh, yeah,
kinda-
rattlesnakes out there.
No, I didn't think about
I-
that day.
I don't know.
David B. No.
Oh, yeah.
He was out there for years, and
Ah.
But
I
you
guess-
like
I don't know.
Tim just kind of motioned your head would have to be on a swivel. Like, I
Yeah.
don't know, I
How
think
could you
something's
sleep,
gonna
dude?
get me, or whatever.
hey, at
Someone's
some
gotta
point you're
get
going to be
me.
tired and exhausted. You're just going to fall asleep.
You are
And what
listening to the
happens is what
Ship's Gonna
happens.
Happen. Listening to the Ship's Gonna Happen podcast. We have Hall of Famer Bill P on with us. Number 2, as affectionately like to call him,
That's funny.
chiming in
Got any
with the
random
list.
thoughts?
But
I don't. I did, but I don't now. I feel bad. I kind of went off on a tangent earlier.
Oh, no big
That's
deal,
why is a
man.
not
pickle
like
a
me.
pickle?
I can clean it up.
Why
if
is
you
a
want me to.
pickle a pickle?
Let's discuss that.
Because it pickled?
Okay, hold on.
Why is it?
Why is a pickle? But we've got pickled pig's feet, pickled eggs, and pickled everything.
Pickle bologna.
Why is it not a pickled cucumber?
Oh.
Because we're
my mind
human-
just went.
There's a reason why you say read and read, and it's spelled the same. Because that's just the English language, buddy. That's what we do.
He just moved from 2 to number 1.
Did he?
Mm-hmm.
Have you looked it up? Is pickle and cucumber? Look up pickle and cucumber in Indonesia.
Well, there's cucumber pickles. I know that you have to use certain cucumbers to make your best pickles.
Typically, I get them out of the wife's nightstand.
How long have you been holding?
Nobody in here. Nobody.
Bill, how long have you been holding on to this
Jeez.
one? Just wondered.
See what I'm
It's
saying?
been a thought for a long time, and I've never been able to.
You haven't had the
it's same thing
platform.
as-
You don't want your coworkers beating you
Yeah.
up or looking at you weird
Is
or any weirder than
pickle
normal.
also
So
known as a
it-
pickled
it's just-
cucumber in another country's language?
It's the same reason why. I mean, I was at the store, and you notice that you look at refried beans, and a bean is a vegetable,
Okay.
and then we got vegetarian refried beans, and I just look at it and go, "How the hell does that happen?"
Right, and
So
when were
next time
they?
you go to the store,
What do you mean they're refried? When were they fried in the first place? You're doing it again, or whatever. Is that
Yeah,
what
I mean,
refried means?
I don't know exactly what they're overcooked or however but there's vegetarian refried beans, and then there's refried beans.
Right.
It's
Well,
because
bean is a vegetable.
Mm-hmm.
they put
What are
vegetarian
you doing
soil
to it?
down.
So, Bill, or Tim, Germany, India, and the Netherlands claim the top 3 spots as pickle eaters.
Pickle eaters.
They eat more pickled cucumbers than any other countries in the world. U.S. consumes 9 pounds of pickles per year per person. That's a lot.
What?
So it says 9 pounds of pickles per year.
Jesus.
I eat a lot of pickles. I like them. I'm probably one.
You're eating them all day, every day to get 9 pounds. Or,
So the states that
Oh.
eat the most pickles
What?
Yeah, the
Thanks,
state. The
Bill. I'm blaming you.
Random
Jesus, why are we
thought.
down this goddamn? Anyway,
Indiana eats as many pickles as the whole state of Ohio. Yeah.
I knew a guy. We called him the captain. He could take one of those big plastic jars of pickles, and he would travel from Remington to Indianapolis, and he'd eat that whole jar of pickles before he got to
The number
Indianapolis.
the number one pickle eater, in this country,
It's Tony B.
right? Yeah.
New Palestine, India, Vermont, North Dakota, South Dakota. Wow, they eat a lot of pickles.
Mhm.
Well,
Those are the number 1, 2, 3, and West Virginia apparently, in Kentucky. I got family in Kentucky, and they pickle everything.
I like pickles.
Pickled eggs are actually good.
Oh,
You ever had pickled egg? Boiled egg?
I don't like those.
How do you
Wow.
pickle eggs?
And puts them in jalapeno pickle juice. Oh, dude, they're pretty good.
So he jars them basically. Is what you're
Yeah,
saying.
puts them in a
What you got,
jar.
Dave B?
That's in my mind. Is just.
I mean, look at it when you go to your grocery store.
Go ahead, Bill.
My wife works at Kroger, and we go over there, and the pickle is one whole half of an aisle.
Really?
With
Really?
just
Hawaii
different
doesn't eat
jars
pickles,
of-
by the way.
So Bill, I'm going to change up.
well, Hawaii eats spam, so I mean, God.
Oh, yeah, that's another thing.
Yeah.
Spam's
Yeah,
actually...
that's pickled meat.
There we go. Boom. Tony,
It is pickled
Timmy
meat.
D.
Spam,
All right.
About 3 months ago, I had my first can of spam, and I'm okay if I go another
Lifetime.
years not have another.
Hey, spam saved the soldiers in World War II, man.
So Bill, I'm going to
No,
change.
you can live on it.
Yeah.
Bill, I'm going to change the
As
subject.
Crocodile Dundee said, you can live on it, but it tastes like shit.
There you go.
Spam stands for specially produced American meat.
Does it?
Mhm.
Do you know that, or did
I
you
Googled
just,
it.
Okay, of course.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. So Bill, I'm going to change the subject just a little bit. We were talking about unions
Sweet.
in the first part of the show, and you said your wife works for Kroger. Is she happy with her union job at Kroger? I'm assuming that she's a union employee at Kroger, right?
Yes, she's
Guess
part
I-
of the union. Yeah, basically she's happy with it. I mean, Kroger employs a lot of part-time people,
Mhm.
and
For that reason, or two?
no, I mean you're still part of the union. You can be part of the
okay.
union part-time as well as full-time.
Oh,
There's no retirement in it, so that's not the reason. And she tells me that she gets mad because we can't fire this person. They almost had this person, but they screwed up with a technicality. Because the union can save your job a lot,
mhm.
and that's where you get a lot. You get a lot of where she says, "Hey, this person's not doing their job, but the union will protect them."
Would
I said, "Yep."
would she think that she's paid fairly because of the union, or is that not a relevant factor?
I think she thinks she's paid fairly. I don't know if there's really not a whole bunch of comparison because I don't know of another union that deals with
So
a
Kroger
grocery chain.
Kroger is the only unionized grocery chain, or do you know that? Do you
that I know of. I mean, I didn't even know they was unionized.
right? Yeah.
So she
They're
come
not-
home with all of
They
her.
have drivers, too, that make really good money.
Kroger's not all unionized. They're actually a very small portion of them.
Yeah, I think the drivers are. And then
Yeah.
some of the meat.
Some of the
deli.
drivers.
The meat,
Yeah.
the deli, some of the baggers and cashiers. And
I don't think the
then-
store manager would be.
No.
No.
Yeah.
Mm-mm.
My wife used to be a manager at the as a lot of people around there say Kroger's.
Yeah, it's only one.
Kroger's. Yeah.
Kroger's.
Kroger.
And so yeah, there's select departments that are, which is weird. You think that the union would be in all the jobs,
You well, just like transportation,
Right.
Transportation,
just like transportation, because when you're an auto worker, you're in that unit.
Right.
All of them,
everyone
Yeah.
except
right?
the management.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think they're all part of the same union now.
Are they okay? Things could change. They're represented by the Teamsters too, correct?
Right.
Yeah.
Mhm. And you
I
don't
believe so.
you don't hear of like a Kroger is gonna go on strike or whatever. That's one of my big pet peeves. I hate
yeah.
that.
Yeah.
But anyway, you never because
Well,
you're
they had the last 2 years ago. They decided a new contract.
okay. Was there a strike ever threatened at that time, or do you remember?
No, they they kicked back the first salvo, and they went back and come back with another one, and everybody accepted it, which they kind of didn't pay attention to the small print because Kroger hires a lot of part-time people, and they was like, hey, if you've been here and you're maxed out, you can get this bonus for full time, and they didn't read the fine print when they signed all the contracts. There's a lot of people who weren't eligible for that bonus.
When you say maxed out, you mean maxed out as in dollar per hour? This is the
Yes.
highest. So what's the incentive to work harder if you're a max?
Yeah,
just asking.
Well, it's kind of back to that whole full circle on the union. Would you work for it? Would you not? Do you want based on you? You know, oh no.
Either you work, like
I'm not-
Tim said, either you're working for the man or you be the man.
Yeah.
And typically, if you are the man, you're still working for the man.
Right, you're working for somebody.
Everyone does.
Everybody's reporting to somebody.
The government.
Even Donald Trump's figured that out. You still got someone to report to. It don't
us
matter.
three here could be millionaire business owners. I'm still reporting to Ann at the end of the day. You're still reporting
You're
to
goddamn
Tracy.
right.
And you're still reporting to your
That's
lady
right.
at the end of the day.
Yeah.
And Bill, we know who's number one in your house, brother.
Yeah,
Damn.
she's at work right now.
That's why you were able to make it on the show.
Yeah.
But it
Well.
says here that Kroger is they're in a union. They're got healthcare, dental, vision. Looks like they got it's pretty cool actually. So that
Yeah, they have quick weight carriers, which holds their drivers and their mechanics, and
that's what I was thinking about. Those go ahead. I'm sorry.
all of them are union
Yeah.
in the state of Indiana, except the one that's off Washington Street. I don't know how they did it. The manager there got them to vote the union out.
Wow.
Interesting.
He's probably pretty
So that one is a no union site there that's off of Brookville Road.
yeah.
That's US 52 for all you national listeners
How
out
long,
there.
how long are they going to pave that thing for?
Oh my god.
Well,
Seriously.
we're gone through 2 weeks. We got to wait for third
Yeah,
week.
I had to-
longer.
Carroll Road up here the other day.
Yeah.
I had to literally go
Yeah.
all the way around and come in the back of the neighborhood, which is fine.
So I'm coming up through there this morning, and one of the parts that's not paved, that's already kind of been dug up, they had a street sweeper on that thing just blowing dust everywhere. I'm like, what in the hell
Yeah,
are
I
you
know.
doing? But what I'm like,
Yeah.
how are you still paving this thing?
Fun fact for you homeowners out there: concrete is taxable, blacktop is not.
Really?
Check out your driveway, find out if you're getting taxed right or not. Did you know that?
No.
Mm-mm.
So if you build like a pole bar or something, you do it on gravel or you do it on blacktop versus concrete, so you don't get
I have 2 driveways I'm getting taxed for.
bump, bump, bump.
Mind blower.
Bill, that first
Put
Saturday in
concrete out and paint the driveway black. Concrete black.
That's why
That's
you're
why
number
we
one,
have him
Bill.
on.
Hey,
This is
hey,
why you have him on.
Modern day problems need a modern day solution. My
Exactly.
man just
That's
came
right.
out
It's
with
just
it.
painted black.
Bill, can you
Have
talk?
you seen the videos where they're making that concrete and they're just using dry concrete and they're settling it out and then they spray it with water
Yeah.
and they spray it with more?
Mm-mm.
I got to see it. I don't know if that even works.
Yeah, I've seen that. I've seen some also, Bill. I think it was in Utah or Idaho. There's a test pattern of a road that they're building that actually will self-charge, sets off electricity to charge autonomous vehicles.
Isn't there?
Speaking of which,
Isn't there?
next week y'all need to talk about Ohio and Indiana's getting ready to do trial runs.
That's where I was going.
going on 70 with autonomous
Between here and
vehicles.
Columbus, right?
Yeah, it's just straight 70. Yeah, I don't
Yeah.
know what all that entails,
That's
but
probably going
I just saw that on the news. I didn't read much into it because I figured we had
Same.
plenty to talk about today with all the labor contracts.
Dude,
out
that'll be
there,
interesting,
And we
though.
had Bill on, so
So you're saying that starts when?
next year.
Mm-hmm.
That'll be
It's
interesting.
What is this?
I'm sorry.
I've never heard about this.
autonomous vehicle. So Bill, what's going to happen on your job is AI is going to tell you what's wrong with the vehicle when it breaks down because there won't be a driver in it to tell you what's wrong.
Can I impersonate that?
How's that
Can I
even
impersonate
possible?
that voice real quick, if you don't mind?
Yeah.
Number 2. This is what's wrong with the whatever. Fix it. This is why you're.
She
number,
even changed
this
the
is
tire.
This is why you're number 2.
Bill's gonna be like, I work for humans first.
Have you guys seen that show, the Cube with Wade, whatever his name, Wade from Miami Heat that retired?
Dwayne Wade.
It's called
Dwayne
the
Wade.
Cube.
No,
and
I
it's
haven't.
a voice that like talks back to the person. So you get inside this big cube.
Oh,
It's a
I've never
game
seen it.
show.
Oh, I haven't seen that.
And it's like an AI voice. And that's what I picture telling
Oh,
Billy P and all his team about what's wrong with the vehicle with no driver.
Yeah.
But you want it to have a little sass and be like, this is why you're number 2,
yeah.
dumbass.
And then it'll be
Yeah,
like,
oh yeah.
you have 2 hours to fix it.
Yeah.
That's what it's going to tell you.
Get it done, Bill.
Bill, thanks for jumping on, man.
Yeah, thanks, Bill. Appreciate it.
Bill, real quick, can you join us that first Saturday in August or no? Do you know yet? Not that it's a big deal.
What week is it? What?
That first, the
August
5th. I
5th.
think it's the 5th. Swing by the Great Divide if you're free that day at 10:30 in the morning. We'd love to have you if you can
I'll
make
shoot
it.
you a
I
text.
think I can make that.
If not, that's fine too. So it's been a pleasure having you today, my brother. Hope you're doing well. Give your best to the
I'm doing
family.
fabulous.
Awesome.
Thanks for having me on. It's
You
Thanks,
take
always
guys.
care,
fun
brother.
being on and listening to you guys.
Yeah, you too, man.
See you, Hall of Famer.
Always enjoy it. Have a good weekend, brother.
Hall of Famer Bill.
We're out.
You got to stop this time. We still rolling. He's still messing with buttons. You never know.
Do what?
Have you stopped the recording?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So-
Oh, no, I didn't.
I told